Number 10. Timothy Chalamet and Chanel. Perfume commercials have some of the dumbest advertisements but somehow end up making millions. I could do an entire top 30 list of cheesy and bad commercials, but let's keep things trendy and talk about Timothy Chalamet's recent Bleu de Chanel commercial. As with all perfume ads, you either say too much or nothing at all. In this case, it was nothing at all. Timothy was paid handsomely to walk on camera in slow motion and stare into the lens while the song Nights in White Satin by the Moody Blues begins to play. The commercial lasts about 30 seconds before it abruptly cuts to a bottle of the product and Timothy says Bleu de Chanel, but for some reason he really puts an accent on it, more like Bleu de Chanel. The caption beneath the ad reads, "A fragrance for the man who is deeply himself." What does that mean? What if said man was an axe-wielding maniac? What does that smell like? Potpourri? That's the other thing about all these ads. They never actually explain what anything smells like. They just leave it up to our imagination. A fragrance for the man who is deeply himself sounds like Axe body spray. I don't know, maybe I'm just a broke boy who can't appreciate good TV, or maybe we're all on the same page. Let's find out in those comments. Number 9. Kim Kardashian and Skims. Now, Kim Kardashian is no stranger to a brand collaboration. She's been the face of many products over the years in various markets. But in 2022, she decided to create her own line of undergarments and star in a commercial showcasing what she had made. While showing off the clothes' ability to stretch and form fit at the same time, her finger suddenly distorts, becoming long and witch-like for a brief moment. When the ad was released, Kim did not receive the feedback that she was expecting. Instead of people focusing on the fact that she created underwear that molded to them, they pointed out the obvious edit on her hand and called her out for distorting her own image to appear more slender. The major backlash came from that, everyone pointing out the fact that Kim was trying to push an unrealistic body image on her fans, and the ad was pulled down after about 5 days. According to the company, the mistake was actually a glitch and not an editing choice, but this commercial had to go through a lot of people before actually being filmed and released into the world. Are you telling me that nobody was like, hey, that's an Elastic Man move right there? Number 8. Beyonce Heat. As previously mentioned, the world of perfume is filled with some pretty strange celebrity collaborations. For this entry, we're going to be talking specifically about Beyonce's first fragrance, Heat. Released in 2010, Heat was Beyonce's first attempt at breaking into the world of smells, even starring in her own commercial for the product. The commercial asked the question, just how hot is Beyonce? It turns out she's boiling! One part of the ad sees Beyonce slowly dragging her hand across a wall that melts and is set on fire. Now, I don't know about anyone else watching this video right now, but I hate being warm. Being too hot is the worst sensation that we have to deal with on a regular basis. We get sticky and wet, so the last thing that I want to think about while applying perfume is Beyonce setting things on fire with her hotness. I mean, I don't apply perfume. What? Moving on. Number 7. Kendall Jenner, the Pepsi commercial. Sponsored brand deals can mean a lot of money for the people involved. Just look at every cologne on the planet. They get someone to stand there for 30 seconds and they make $1 million. Around 2017, Kendall Jenner decided to partner with the soda brand Pepsi to create a commercial that would act as both an ad and a PSA against hate. The commercial consisted of hundreds of people from different parts of the world drinking Pepsi and eventually everyone coming together on the streets, what appears to be New York. Kendall looks to the crowd, wipes her makeup off, and follows in. But the cringiest moment comes when the crowd of people appear to be at a standoff with the police. Kendall walks through the crowd and hands an officer a can of Pepsi. He sips it, and the crowd cheers. Before they swarm the cops, who are just suddenly cool with everything that's going on. The ad was meant to be a political statement following the passing of several African American men and women in the United States, aiming to bring people together, which it did, but for the wrong reasons. The world collectively cringed at this absolute mess, forcing Kendall to drop a tear-filled apology video on that season's premiere of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She may have apologized, but we're never gonna forget that weird commercial. Number 6. LeBron James and Samsung. If you genuinely love a product and you use it regularly, why not partner with the company and make a little extra cash? LeBron did just that in 2012 after starring in a commercial for Samsung, advertising the Galaxy Note 2. While there isn't really much wrong with the commercial other than being just a little bit longer than it should be, it was the aftermath that landed LeBron on this list. 2 years after releasing the commercial and continuing to rep the brand, his Galaxy Note rebooted one day suddenly and deleted every single thing on his device. Unlike most Apple products, Samsung actually charges its users to keep information stored in a cloud, an option that, James did not go for. James tweeted out that his phablet rebooted and deleted everything he had, giving him the sickest feeling he's ever had in his life. He later deleted that tweet, but not before being retweeted over 1,000 times. Of course, this hurt the sales of the product, and his commercial was eventually pulled off the air. Something tells me that LeBron has made the switch to Apple since then. Number 5. Snoop Dogg, Pocket Like It's Hot. Sometimes we want to have a nice big slice of pizza, but you don't have the time or money to afford one. Well, these little frozen treats are cheap and easy to make and chock full of delicious ingredients. So of course, one of its most avid consumers would be rapper Snoop Dogg, and he decided to try his hand at the marketing business, partnering with the company in 2013 to create a music video commercial. That's when the world was gifted with Pock It Like It's Hot, a parody of Snoop's famous Drop It Like It's Hot. The music video itself is actually surprisingly entertaining. Snoop and DeStorm rap alongside a little Hot Pocket and they dance in a microwave. However, the actual food Hot Pockets can be a little bit hit or miss. Following the success of the commercial, Hot Pockets started flying off the shelves, but they were apparently quickly moved into the trash cans. People trying them for the first time were expecting this explosion of taste, but they were more than likely met with burning mouths and cold pepperoni somehow. Honestly, this isn't the worst brand deal on the planet or on this list, I just thought it was a fun one to share. Look at that little Hot Pocket go. Number 4, Ashton Kutcher and Pop Chips. Pop Chips are a yummy snack food that combines the best elements of popcorn and chip, creating a unique and delicious flavor. The brand's been around for quite some time, but thanks to a particularly racy commercial from former Punk'd host Ashton Kutcher, things didn't go too well for him. The commercial featured Ashton in several outlandish costumes playing various men on a dating app looking for love. The first character that we are introduced to is Raj, a Bollywood producer. Yeah, within the first few seconds of this commercial, we are just blasted with Ashton in brownface, sporting a very stereotypical accent. Now, I don't know who at Pop Chips thought that this was a good idea for a commercial. Doesn't even have anything to do with the brand. Like, it would maybe make sense if one of the dudes being interviewed was a bag of Pop Chips. That would have at least been a little bit more entertaining. Instead, this commercial was so racist that it was pulled from TV after only 1 week on the air. Thankfully, Pop Chips were so delicious that they weathered the media storm and returned with a new commercial last year. Now I'm hungry. Number 3, Ozzy Osbourne Can't Believe It's Not Butter. I Can't Believe It's Not Butter is one of the longest names for a butter substitute on the planet, but it's actually one of the most accurate ones too. Now, I've left this one towards the end because it's an older entry on this list, but it's also pretty entertaining. This commercial was so bad, it was hilarious. Ozzy teamed up with the Butter Boys and starred in a commercial alongside himself. He's baking with himself when he asks his clone to grab some butter from the fridge. The skit ends with them realizing they'd been making fairy cakes the whole time. Fairy cakes? Ew. He said, "I'm the Prince of Darkness, I'm eating rock cakes." Okay, well what he actually said was, "I'm the Prince of Darkness, I'm eating rock cakes." But the closed captioning might not be able to get that one. It's not the worst deal of all time, but like, come on, you couldn't think of anybody else to do that commercial? They were really trying to capitalize on that rock fan base. Joke's on them, I can only imagine how much butter must have been thrown at Ozzy ever since. Oh well, at least it'll go well with his bat heads. And number 2, Kesha and her catchers. She woke up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy, and apparently in the mood to throw some things at people. Pop singing sensation Kesha was performing at a concert in 2011 when she decided to throw some product placement at her crowd. Now, there is a company in the world called Lifestyle, a name that many may be familiar with, especially if you've taken a certain educational course in school. You know, the one about the birds and the bees and the cartoon nether bits. Kesha teamed up with the company to develop and print Kesha Catchers, a special edition tube with Kesha's face right on the front. Fans attending these concerts were promised to be covered in sweat, booze, and a little extra something if they were lucky. But the only thing these fans left with were plastic paper cuts on their hands from trying to catch those things. Like, geez, you're flaming them like ninja stars. And at number 1, Nicki Minaj and Majesty. Despite having a clever name, this celebrity-endorsed perfume has one of the weirdest bottle designs I've ever seen. The design is based around one of Nicki's iconic looks from her stage time, sporting a pink hairstyle and bright bustier. Plus, the bottle has this like weird golden face that's just a little bit too detailed, like it's just enough to be creepy, but it's not enough to be Nicki's face. It's not just the bottle though, it was the way that she tried to sell it. The ad for this perfume sees Nicki chasing a majestic horse through a forest as her extravagant dress is slowly ripped apart by the trees, and it ends with her approaching a castle in the woods where there sits a massive bottle of the product overhead, and the men guarding the gate smell the fragrance on Nicki and open the doors. Again, weird commercial, but what does it smell like?
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop. Gwyneth rose to fame, starring in everything from 1998's Shakespeare in Love to Avengers Endgame in 2018. There's no denying that she is an absolute delight on screen, but did you know she's got a line of candles that are questionable to say the least. In 2011, she incorporated her company Goop, a beauty product and fashion company that believes there should be zero toxins in all products we use on our skin. The company also created a line of pleasurable objects, but we won't get into it now. Just Google it. Sometimes they have sales. In 2020, she partnered with a forward-thinking perfumer named Douglas Little to create a line of scented candles. During the testing process, Douglas asked Gwyneth to sniff a candle that he believed was ready for shelving. She took one sniff and said, "That smells like my downstairs." She didn't say that. I can't say what she said, but it rhymes with Regina, my hometown. She wrote that exclamation on the candle and sold it to her customer base. For some reason, a lot of people wanted to know what scent Gwyneth's nether regions supposedly produced. According to the Goop website, the candle contained notes of bergamot, geranium, and cedar. Hey, I think Gwyneth needs to see a doctor. Bergamot is described to be a spicy orange. Nobody should smell like a spicy orange. In our number 9 spot today, we have Kylie Cosmetics. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan and is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire ever, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta, a beauty salon company. This would allow the brand, previously only available online and in random pop-up stores, to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. If you've ever purchased this product or intend to in the future, allow me to educate you on exactly where this product comes from. Many employees at the factory that mixes and packages her makeup and beauty products have reported that they were never given proper safety equipment that one would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and face completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines and mild chemical burns on their hands. And if this isn't bad enough, they were also forced to act as human test subjects for Kylie's new products. Kylie was very proud of her company not testing products on animals, but can we agree that using people is like kind of worse? I don't know. Both are bad, okay? In our number 8 spot today, we have The Beverage. Dan is probably best known for his time on the live television sketch show Saturday Night Live, but all you geeky peeps out there surely know him as Ray Stantz from the Ghostbusters franchise. While he is best known in the acting world, he is one of the many celebrities who opted to go the no-no juice route and decided to start producing his own brand of an adult beverage that starts with a V and rhymes with Lodka. Since I actually can't say it, I will be referring to this product as Skull Juice for the rest of this entry. Dan's Skull Juice can be purchased around the world. The novelty of the product is not that it's Dan Aykroyd's Skull Juice, but the fact that the liquid comes in a large skull-shaped bottle that you've surely seen in a college dorm or basement of a mother's house. While the product may be fun for the bottle, the actual juice inside is some of the worst stuff most people have ever tasted. There are already well-established brands that exist and are some people's party go-tos. I just want to clarify, I'm not telling you to try other brands. In fact, take the money you are going to spend on the juice and buy a skull. Don't worry about it. I know a guy. In our number 7 spot today, we have Prime Energy. These drinks are prime time, baby. At least they were. Prime Energy Drink is one of the most recent and popular brands of energy drinks to hit the market, thanks to the product being endorsed by former YouTube giant and current WWE punching bag Logan Paul and social media influencer KSI. The brand is a colorful treat aimed at young gamers, created with the goal of allowing the player to go hard for as long as possible. That mentality must be why they thought it would be a good idea to jam 140 milligrams of caffeine per bottle, which for anyone who doesn't game or cares about their heart is the equivalent of nearly 5 cups of coffee or 2 cans of Red Bull. Despite this heart fuel being on the shelf for a few years now, it was only recently that the FDA decided to peek into the contents of the container. Apparently the drink was causing people some hardcore health issues for some reason. That's weird. When I drink 5 cups of coffee, I feel fine. I mean, my arm goes numb and I can't see for a few minutes, but I've definitely felt worse. It was announced yesterday that the product is not only being discontinued, but it has actually been recalled from Canadian and American shelves. So if you have an unopened bottle, you should keep it. This stuff is basically gasoline. You never know when you need to refill your car. Or pwn a noob on COD. I can't believe I just had to say that. In our number 6 spot today, we have Shaq Fu. Shaquille O'Neal has made quite the name for himself, both in the world of basketball and on the silver screen. Who could forget his Oscar-worthy performance as the genie Kazam in the movie Kazam? He lived in a boombox. It's a wild one, if you haven't seen it. major Mandela effect on that movie also. To capitalize on his fame in the late 90s, Shaq partnered with a French gaming developer, Delphine Software International or DSI, to create a Mortal Kombat style combat game featuring Shaq as both the face and the main character. It was called Shaq Fu, and oh my goodness, I wish I was alive when this came out. I would have bought 2 copies, one to play with and one to sell to a museum. The storyline was ridiculous enough. While Shaq is playing for a charity sports event in Japan, he runs into an old man who tells him he's the chosen one and must save a young boy named Nezu from the evil Set Ra. On top of the story, the game had been a clear ripoff of popular games that already existed at the time. The characters were poorly rendered, the combinations were extremely difficult to pull off. In fact, most players agree that button mashing and frustration yielded better results. Needless to say, fans of basketball were confused, fans of Mortal Kombat were confused, and surely Shaq himself was confused and probably filled with regret. If you somehow find a copy of this one, nah, you won't find a copy. Boom, money saved, no problem. In our number 5 spot today we have Elton John glasses. Elton John is known around the world for his incredible voice and larger-than-life stage presence. Photos of Elton in outlandish outfits sitting at an old Steinway piano live rent-free in our skulls 24/7. Well, you know it's not free. Elton's line of eyewear. In 2021, he collaborated with marketing giants Walmart and Sam's Club to release a line of glasses inspired by Elton's many impeccable spectacles over the years. Now, this product isn't a waste of money in the sense that it's stupid. In fact, the designs online are actually pretty impressive in their design and truly capture the feeling of Elton John. The problem is that the glasses cost a whopping $200 a piece, and that's before you get whatever prescription you put in. I don't know about you, but I'm not confident that I can pull off some of these glasses. I would just be bringing shame on myself and Elton's name. Save your $200 and get a poster or something instead, I guess. In our number 4 spot today we have Goodles. Goodles, how terrible. Oodles of Goodles are coming your way. The actress, best known as Wonder Woman on the silver screen, teased her Instagram followers in summer of 2021 with a photo of a colorful label for something called Goodles. Gal later revealed that Goodles is a healthy alternative to mac and cheese created by a company she co-founded with company Gooder Foods that was absorbed by General Mills in 2020. She said joining the company was a no-brainer. She's a mom and her kids love mac and cheese, but the common brands aren't always the healthiest in the world. Anyone who's ever lived in a dorm knows that firsthand. It's like Katie just sucks the life right out of ya. The brand was received well, but anyone who's ever tasted normal mac and cheese will find the shift to be a bit of a struggle. According to some reviews, the plant-based noodles are grainy, and the 21 plant-based nutrients that are hidden in the mix are hidden about as well as Shaquille O'Neal behind a thumbtack. This product does not exist in Canada, and if you're in the States, you may just want to stick to good old ooey gooey mac and cheese. In our number 3 spot today, we have Steve-O's hot sauce. The former stuntman and current self-help and health guru Steve-O has had a number of get-rich-quick schemes over the years. He's attempted to market and sell prophylactics with his face on them in the past, but it's his so-called hot sauce for your bum bum that makes it on this list. Following the success of celebrity collaborations with several hot sauce brands, as well as the large number of sales connected to the release of a hot sauce line from the YouTube series Hot Ones, Steve-O decided to hop on the hot sauce bandwagon and release his own line of spicy delights. Only his delights turned out to be a bit more of a disaster. The choices are the milder version for your butthole, and there's also an extra spicy version called the Butt Destroyer, and while neither hot sauce is necessarily gross, many fans were disappointed to find that the flavor was similar to a spicy sriracha. While fans of hot sauce should maybe steer clear, fans of Steve-O should grab a bottle just for a little cartoon on the label. In our number 2 spot today we have desserts. Jessica Simpson was one of the biggest pop princesses of the early 2000s. I can still see one of those big posters of her you'd get from like Teen Beat magazine, so big and colorful and usually coupled with Irresistible being blasted at full volume. Ah, the good old days. Jessica actually made a couple of moves outside the world of singing. She briefly starred in a handful of rom-coms alongside comedians like Dane Cook, iconic, Johnny Knoxville, and Mike Myers, but we don't talk about that movie. She's also made a name for herself in the world of makeup and perfume. In 2004, she launched the beauty brand Dessert, advertised to be a line of edible skin and body care products. The idea is sound if you've ever accidentally sprayed or applied something to your lip, and you've certainly realized that just because it smells good doesn't always taste good. Fans quickly flocked to the stores to buy the shampoos and creams that Jessie wanted them to bring on their lunch breaks. However, the brand was discontinued after only 2 years. So, if you do happen to find a bottle, maybe leave it on the shelf. Something tells me that cherry blossom tastes more like vinegar at this point. The main reason that she shut down? Well, she got sued by 2 separate cosmetic companies, Cosmo Jet, and by one Mara Fox, former Precious Metal guitarist and founder of Love Potion perfume. Cosmo were claiming that Dessert owed them over $1 million in manufacturing fees that never reached their desks. Mara was claiming that Jessica stole the name Love Potion several times. The fact was, nobody can trademark that phrase, cause come on, that's clearly a Harry Potter property or something. Between the legal fees piling up and the high demand for new scents and tastes, she was forced to close the company in late 2006. You may say that she got her just desserts. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have Yeezys. Kanye West had massive success as a rapper, but he made a majority of his money collaborating with the company Adidas to create the shoe line Yeezys. The exclusive shoe that sold for minimum $350 in store and on shelf would release limited quantities every year, which made them rare and highly coveted. But besides Kanye's name being attached to the brand that no longer exists thanks to Kanye going nuts on Twitter in 2019, what was the big deal? Anytime I see a pic of the shoes, my immediate thought is, those look like they were made in a cheese grater. The shoes look like 6 different shoes, stitched together like some Frankenstein's monster of footwear. Look at the Yeezy Boost Onyx. This thing looks like it was designed for people with abnormally long heels, and the rubber? I don't know. These shoes are still available today, but because of the discontinuation in stores, the private sellers market has tripled the price. And even if these things were like $20, I'd rather throw on a pair of dollar store Crocs.
Number 10. The Weeknd and Bella Hadid. In 2016, Bella was on the cover of Glamour magazine where she announced that she was dating Abel Tesfaye, the artist behind the moniker The Weeknd. And I'm almost positive that's not how you pronounce it, but oh well, I've butchered easier names in my day. At the time, The Weeknd had just released his popular album Starboy, and while it received critical acclaim upon initial release, following the announcement of Bella and The Weeknd's relationship became a headliner in the online news world. Questions being thrown left and right though. Who, what, when, where, how did these guys get together? Since then, the couple has been going strong and they seem to be using their celebrity status to improve each other's careers. You see, Bella has maintained her modeling gig and now acts as a social media influencer, while The Weeknd has only grown in popularity, even being cast to star in a new series on HBO Max called The Idol, chronicling a fictional pop star's attempt to remain relevant and a woman meeting the man named Tedros, a nightclub enthusiast with a sordid past. His role has been well received so far, but the graphic content of the show and The Weeknd's role in it has made fans question the musician's creative aspirations, surely putting the magic of his celebrity coupling to the test, but the greed is present. Number 9. Justin and Hailey. Before becoming husband and wife, Justin and Hailey were slowly building up their careers as a musician and model respectively. They met while Justin was still dating fellow pop musician and former Disney star Selena Gomez, and they struck up a secret romance. As Justin and Selena were constantly on and off again, Hailey and Justin became closer and closer with each subsequent split. Being friends at first, but eventually they became an official item in 2018. While they were both fairly famous before becoming an official couple, following their marriage, it's arguable that they have rise to a new level of success and recognition. Justin is becoming one of the most replayed artists around the world, and Hailey has been working hard in the fashion industry, both on the stage and behind the sewing machine. While their relationship may be true love, the fame and recognition that has come with their new celebrity status will certainly be the driving force that this relationship needs for the foreseeable future. Number 8. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. Ryan and Blake are a tale as old as time. They met while either dating or married to other people on set of a film that Ryan prefers not to talk about, 2010's Green Lantern, Western flick. While they were attending Comic-Con to promote the film, the audience could see an undeniable chemistry between the two. Only 3 months following Comic-Con, Blake announced that she was splitting with her Gossip Girl co-star, Penn Badgley, and not long after that, Ryan Reynolds and his then wife, Scarlett Johansson, announced that they were getting divorced. Almost like they plotted a slow burn breakup plan to allow them to get together without there being, too many objections. They became official in 2011 and have been together ever since. While Lively has had a pretty solid career in the film industry, she hasn't really been making many movies since her last role in the 2017 dramatic thriller A Simple Favor, but her husband certainly has been. Ryan has become one of the wealthiest men in Hollywood thanks to his multiple business ventures in the world of adult beverages, wireless cell phone coverage, and soccer, or football for our friends in the UK. He hasn't done this alone, and he claims that Blake is his good luck charm. He always consults with his wife on any business move that he's attempting to make, and so far so good, right? As Ryan Reynolds is rolling in business dough, and thanks to his new contract with Disney to star as the Merc with the Mouth in their Marvel Cinematic Universe, Blake just has to sit back and enjoy the ride now. Nothing wrong with being a little greedy when you've earned it. Number 7, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel. While Justin was slowly taking over the pop scene in the mid-2000s following his split from NSYNC, his future wife, Jessica Biel, was making I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, which is when we really should have realized that Adam Sandler just had a really odd sense of humor. The couple met at a friend's party in 2007 that Justin was hosting. According to the couple, it was anything more than love at first sight. They met, they chatted, and Justin ended up getting her phone number from one of his buddies so that he could ask her on a date. Getting an actual phone number was a normal thing people did before they were just like, hey, what's your handle? Eventually, he wore her down, his words, and they were eventually married in 2012. While the couple have been highly successful in their respective fields, their combined power allots to a massive $268 million net worth. Between Justin's music and Jessica's acting gigs, the couple have created a perfect little nest egg for themselves that will surely keep their relationship going for a very long time. Number 6, Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom. These two met in the most old-fashioned way around. Orlando stole Katy's cheeseburger. In 2016, Katy met Orlando at an event for the Golden Globes. They barely knew each other at the time. Katy asked her security team to bring her 10 In-N-Out burgers, and all of a sudden Orlando's hand just appeared from thin air. It grabbed a burger and it ran off. Katy's first words to him were, "Hey, that's my burger!" It's so cute to imagine just a little Orlando Bloom just running away like, "You can't get me!" They eventually met properly and they began spending more and more time together in May of 2016, and they announced their official coupling status to the world. Their relationship has been public and filled with fun pics. In fact, on their first Halloween together, the couple dressed up as the former president Donald Trump and his arch nemesis, a woman. No, I'm just kidding, it was Hillary Clinton. They did briefly split in 2017, but were brought back together after only a year apart. Since getting engaged in 2019, their combined net worth between Katy Perry's success as a musician and Orlando's stellar career on the silver screen, the couple share roughly $300 million together, and that's a lot of clams. Currently, Katy's place in the eyes of the media is that of a villain, following the reveal of her true nature on American Idol. She roasted a mom on the show, and it was harsh, and we'll just see if the relationship will hold up now that Katy's not getting those Idol checks every month. Number 5, Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian. Pete and Kim met one night in 2020 on the set of Saturday Night Live, a weekly sketch series on NBC that's been around since the early 1970s. The two played Jasmine and Aladdin in a sketch parodying the scene from the original animated film featuring the song A Whole New World. They had water and fake bird poop thrown at them. It wasn't a great sketch, okay? But I have to admit, it was pretty funny to watch Kim Kardashian try to make it to the end of that scene without passing out from laughter. Following the episode, the two had apparently begun seeing each other on the down low. The reason being, well, Kim was still married to the madman of Twitter, Kanye West, at the time. West had apparently speculated that the relationship was taking place as it came around the same time that he was being cancelled in the mainstream for some nasty tweets and views that he shared online. It seems that this relationship was one bred from a place of greed, however, as following the official divorce from Kanye, Kim and Pete actually split up, claiming that it had just fizzled out. But the reality was that Kim was using Pete as a way to push Kanye over the edge and just accept the divorce. When she was done with him, she tossed him aside and has moved on to the next guy. Don't feel bad though. Pete Davidson, he moved on right away, somehow encapsulating the energy of his sketch character Chad and just being like, oh hey Emily. Number 4. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. The couple first met as co-stars on that 70s show where they played on-again, off-again couple Jackie Burkhart and Michael Kelso, but they didn't become a real-life couple until 15 years later. Before they met, Ashton married fellow actor Demi Moore, and Mila had been dating Home Alone star Macaulay Culkin for nearly 8 years, and I'm really curious why we didn't hear more about that. That sounds neat. In 2011, Ashton became the figure of public shame after Demi announced that they would be getting divorced following Ashton cheating on her with another woman. While the mystery woman was never actually confirmed, not long after this announcement, Mila Kunis and Ashton were seen attending the Golden Globes together, and they later confirmed that they had sparked a romantic relationship. At the time of the scandal, Ashton had slowed down in the acting world, but Mila was making movie after movie, starring in flicks like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Ted, and Friends with Benefits, which all went on to be hits. The press coverage on top of the scandal seemed to give Mila a boost in her career, and despite backlash and personal issues within the relationship, the couple are still together today. Ashton, however, has remained out of Hollywood's radar and appears to be under the impression that since his wife is famous and rich, he can just mooch off her until she's sick of him. Imagine in a few years, she's like, yep, I've had it, and a camera crew bursts in, throws Ashton a trucker hat, and he's like, you just got punked! Number 3. Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen. For those unfamiliar to the football world, Tom Brady is considered to be one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, particularly during his time with the New England Patriots. His wife Gisele is also considered to be at the top of her field. She's a world-famous supermodel. When these two are next to each other, it's like the jock and the pretty girl from back in the day got together and they did not age. It's weird. They met through a mutual friend in 2006 and quickly hit it off. He proposed after 3 years of being together, and they've been happily married since 2009. Now, let's talk dollar signs for a minute. During his time in the NFL, Brady accumulated a massive $180 million in net worth, which is pretty good, while his partner Gisele has a net worth of $360 million. Tom literally put his body in harm's way in the hopes that he might win a trophy, and all she had to do was fly to Italy and pose on a yacht. Man, maybe Tom should dabble in the modeling world, that'd be fun. The relationship, initially driven by fame and fortune, unfortunately dissipated earlier this year when the couple split and filed for divorce. Coincidentally, around the same time, he started talking about not playing football anymore. Yeah, coincidence. Number 2, Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield. Andrew and Emma were the power couple of the early 2010s after starring as Pete and MJ in Sony's reboot of the Spider-Man franchise, The Amazing Spider-Man, in 2012. The film only spawned one sequel before Disney swooped in to buy the rights to Spidey right out from under their noses. During the 4 years that they were playing the characters, though, Emma and Andrew became a real-life couple and were appearing regularly in the public eye, out on dates, having vacations, and of course being on set together. But that's what they wanted us to see. Emma and Andrew were another one of those couples that played on-screen lovers and they just so happened to like each other in real life. 9 times out of 10, those relationships have PR written all over them. Coincidentally, only a few short months following the announcement that the third movie would be cancelled to allow Tom Holland the chance to don the suit for the MCU, not to mention, spoiler alert, Emma Stone's character dies at the end of Spider-Man 2, meaning she wouldn't have been involved in a third movie in the first place unless it was just a bunch of flashbacks to better times, 2012. Nobody misses you. And at number 1, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. The Smith family have been at the top of the news storm recently after it was announced that Jada's talk show Red Table was going to be cancelled. One topic that was brought up on the series before its cancellation, though, was the revelation of an entanglement between Pinkett and singer-songwriter August Alsina during a brief breakup the couple was taking during the early 2000s. Pinkett was quick to bounce back, though, after breaking it up with Will, entangling with August, and eventually getting back with Will to continue the marriage. It's not all sunshines and rainbows with these guys, though, as the couple still has marital issues to this day and have been plagued with cheating rumors ever since. They've been thrown even further under the bus by their own kids, Willow and Jaden, who called the pair out for their lack of proper parenting skills and for essentially leaving them to their own devices. Together, Jada and Will carry around a dark storm cloud of negative energy and spread it to everyone they interact with. You would think these guys would just split and save each other the mental hassle, but just look at Will's house, man. That thing could fit thousands of people inside of it. It has its own everything. If these two split up, it would mean losing their fancy house, and, well, we wouldn't want that, would we? Would we? Huh? Would we, Los Angeles? Huh? Would we, Los Angeles real estate department? Would we? Number 10, The Weeknd and Bella Hadid. In 2016, Bella was on the cover of Glamour magazine, where she announced that she was dating Abel Tesfaye, the artist behind the moniker The Weeknd. And I'm very sorry if I butchered that name. At the time, The Weeknd had just released his popular album Starboy, and while it received critical acclaim upon release, following the announcement of Bella and The Weeknd becoming a couple was the headline of the media news world. Questions began being thrown left and right. Who? What? When? Where? Why are these guys together? Since then, the couple has been going strong and seems to be using their celebrity status to improve each other's careers. Bella has maintained her modeling gig and now acts as a social media influencer, while The Weeknd has only grown in popularity, even being cast to star in a new series on HBO Max called The Idol, chronicling a fictional pop star's attempt to remain relevant and her meeting of a man named Tedros, a nightclub impresario with a sordid past. His role has been well received so far, but the graphic content of the show and The Weeknd's role in it has made fans question the musician's creative aspirations, surely putting the magic of his celebrity coupling to the test. Number 9, Justin and Hailey Bieber. Before becoming husband and wife, Justin and Hailey were slowly building up their careers as a musician and a model respectively. They met while Justin was still dating fellow pop musician and former Disney star Selena Gomez and struck up a secret romance. Now, while Justin and Selena were constantly on and off again, Hailey and Justin became closer and closer with each subsequent split, being friends at first, but eventually becoming an official item in 2018. While they were both fairly famous before becoming official, following their marriage, it's arguable that they have rise to a new level of success and recognition. Justin is becoming one of the most replayed artists around the world, and Hailey has been working hard in the fashion industry, both on the stage and behind the sewing machine. While their relationship may be true love, the fame and recognition that has come with their new celebrity status will certainly be driving this relationship for the foreseeable future. Number 8, Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. This is a couple that has been in the media headlines over and over again in recent years. The former Office actor shifted his focus to the producer and director side of the industry in 2018 with the release of his horror thriller A Quiet Place, considered to be one of the best horror movies from the 2010s. Emily and John were highly successful before they met each other. While John was playing the iconic role of Jim Halpert on The Office, he actually became a fan of Emily from her role in the film The Devil Wears Prada, admitting that he had seen it roughly 70 times on repeat. They were introduced to each other in 2008, around the same time The Office had begun its 5th season, and Emily was set to star in a biopic called The Young Victoria, about Queen Victoria during her youth. The announcement of their engagement came just weeks before the premiere, creating a little bit of extra buzz that they certainly needed, as the film was not well received. Since 2010, the couple have been seen supporting each other at premieres and collaborating together whenever the opportunity arises, which seems like a cute couple thing to do, but is actually just a solid strategy for getting butts into seats. "Oh honey, look, they made a movie together. That's going to be so cute. We have to go see it," said everybody. Number 7, Tom Holland and Zendaya. Tom and Zendaya met in 2016 on the set of the first MCU Spider-Man movie starring Tom Holland's Spider-Man Homecoming. Zendaya was not unfamiliar to fans, as she had starred in a number of successful TV shows and films before stepping into the role of Spider-Man's love interest, Mary Jane Watson. Although her character wasn't necessarily all that present in the first movie, their time on set was spent laughing together and bonding over their mutual interests. It was announced that the on-screen couple were official just before the release of Homecoming's sequel, Spider-Man Far From Home, which fans weren't really excited about, as it was the final film in the 3rd phase of the MCU, despite Avengers Endgame just wrapping up the phase with a tight, tear-drenched bow. Following the announcement, however, ticket sales increased, and Far From Home went on to be one of the highest-grossing films that Marvel has ever produced. Since then, they've appeared one more time together on screen and have used their Marvel fame to secure roles with other major studios in several major projects. For instance, Tom is now under contract with Apple TV to star in multiple films that have so far received incredible praise, and Zendaya has made a name for herself in the role of leading lady as well, with her performance as Rue on the HBO series Euphoria, nabbing her a win for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series at the Emmy Awards, and the co-leading part of Chani in the recently revived Dune series. series. This couple seems to be taking their combined fame and using it to fuel a career rocket that's heading straight for the moon. Number 6. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. Ben and Jen were a couple way back in the early 2000s, like 100 years ago. They met on the set of a romantic comedy flick called Giggly, released in 2003. While the movie may have flopped, a brief but lasting relationship was made. They went their separate ways in 2003 and maintained a solid friendship over the years, but when they went public back in the day, the media circuit ate them up, creating a small boost in popularity for the couple. In 2021, Lopez ended her engagement to Alex Rodriguez, and, coincidentally, Affleck broke up with his partner, Ana de Armas, and the pair reunited. Of course, things only went up from there. Their names were back in the media mainstream. A re-release of the Justice League starring Affleck as Batman was unleashed onto the world, and Jen was tapped to perform at that year's American Music Awards. There's no denying that apart these two are still famous, but together they're a powerhouse couple with limitless power. Number 5. Jay-Z and Beyonce. Beyonce and Jay-Z are considered to be the music industry's most beloved couple, first getting together in 2001, a year after they first met at the MTV Spring Break Festival in Cancun. Their first collaboration as artists was released in 2002 and titled "03 Bonnie and Clyde," and not long after they released their second song, Crazy in Love, which landed the couple a Grammy Award the following year. Their hit tracks, coupled with the media attention surrounding their relationship, seems to be one of the main ingredients of their family glue, as Jay-Z was actually the center of a cheating scandal in 2014, leading to the now infamous elevator fight. Despite the scandal and the fists, they stay together and have remained in the media mainstream ever since. Number 4. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. The couple first met as co-stars on That 70s Show, where they played on-again, off-again couple Jackie Burkhart and Michael Kelso. But they didn't become a real-life couple until 15 years later. Before they met, Ashton married fellow actor Demi Moore, and Mila had been dating Home Alone star Macaulay Culkin for nearly 8 years. Why was that not talked about more? What? In 2011, Ashton became the figure of public shame after Demi announced that they would be getting divorced following Ashton cheating on her with another woman. Now, while the mystery woman was never firmly identified, not long after this announcement, Mila Kunis and Ashton were seen attending the Golden Globes together and later confirmed that they had sparked a romantic relationship. In the time of the scandal, Ashton had slowed down in the acting world, but Mila was making movie after movie, starring in flicks like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Ted, and Friends with Benefits, which all went on to be hits. The press coverage on top of the scandal seemed to give Mila a boost in her career, and despite backlash and personal issues within the relationship, the couple are still together for now. Number 3. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. Despite what you may have assumed, these two did not meet on the set of the underappreciated live-action Scooby-Doo movie from 2000. No, instead these two met on the set of a little horror flick called I Know What You Did Last Summer in 1997. The Buffy star and the She's All That leading man were married in 2002 following the release of the Scooby-Doo movie, previously mentioned, where they played Fred and Velma. The announcement of their engagement came only a few short months before the premiere, keeping these two in the media circuit for a majority of the early 2000s. Their careers were steady from 1995 till roughly the mid-2000s, deciding to step back from Hollywood to focus on being the best parents they could be. It's all good though, thanks to their star power and successful projects before their retirement, they were financially set for the foreseeable future. Theirs is a slow game though, as their kids are almost out of the house, which will give them the perfect opportunity to return to the spotlight. Maybe they'll get divorced just for the coverage or something, I guess we'll see. Number 2. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas. Catherine Zeta-Jones met future Ant-Man star Michael Douglas after he had his publicist arrange a date for them. Despite it not going well initially, they agreed to a second date and now have kids and a happy, healthy marriage. While their careers remained steady through the 2000s and early 2010s, it wasn't until 2015 that Michael would return to the mainstream, following his casting announcement as Dr. Hank Pym in the MCU's take on the iconic pint-sized superhero Ant-Man. He began releasing promotional videos with co-star Paul Rudd, and the buzz surrounding the flick became stronger and stronger. Following the successful release of the film, Michael began doing more press and interviews in which he got more in-depth on his relationship to Catherine. Catherine had remained fairly aloof in the acting world as she had been undergoing cancer treatments till roughly 2012. Following Michael's career resurgence, she decided it was the right time to capitalize and get herself back into the acting world. Her husband's success drove her to take roles in several projects, both good and bad. Morticia in the new Wednesday series, Great! The National Treasure TV series on Disney+. Burn it! Her career appears to be on the rise again. With the recent release of a third Ant-Man movie though, the couple are in for a fruitful future. And at number 1, Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi. It was love at first sight for Ellen and Portia after meeting backstage at a concert in 2001. At the time, de Rossi was not publicly out of the closet, and Ellen had no idea how to go about the situation. It took 3 years for Portia and Ellen to finally admit their feelings towards each other, and from there, things moved pretty quickly. The moment gay marriage was legalized in the States in 2008, the couple were married and are still going strong to this day. Now, while Ellen may have been famous at the time with both her sitcom and celebrity talk show, Portia hadn't really hit the mainstream yet, until she was casted to play Lindsay Bluth in the much-loved Netflix series Arrested Development. The show first premiered in 2003 and was not immediately receptive to audiences. Despite the stellar cast, which included Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and a young Michael Cera, the writing just really didn't hit home with fans. However, following the public announcement of her relationship to Ellen, the show picked up in viewer numbers. No doubt Ellen's fans curious to see what her new boo did for work. Arrested went on to have 5 seasons, however 2 of those seasons took place in 2013 and 2018, with the latter not even including Portia's character apart from a few green screen insertions. This, combined with the cancellation of Ellen's show, is a case of a celebrity couple driven straight into a ditch.
At number 10, Luann and Tom D'Agostino. Real Housewives of New York cast members Luann and Tom D'Agostino weren't the greatest pair, and everyone on set could have told you that. The toxicity ran deep with these two, but most of it stemmed from Tom. The other cast members actually warned Luann about Tom, saying that he was untrustworthy and that he was still in love with his ex, but even with that warning, Luann continued her romance and the two got married on New Year's Eve in 2016. At the end of the show's 8th season, it was revealed that one of the cast members had compromising photos of Tom kissing another woman just days after his and Luann's engagement party. This was a big red flag, as you could imagine. Soon it became apparent to the public that there were some serious problems in their relationship, as Luann and Tom got into a heated argument in public at a restaurant, which ended with Luann slapping Tom across the face. This heated relationship and Tom's constant cheating never subsided, as days before their divorce announcement, Tom was caught with yet another woman, but at that point, no one was really all that surprised. They were only married for 7 months, but those were the craziest 7 months of their lives. Luann regrets not listening to her castmates when they warned her about Tom, and she wishes she never married such an awful person. At number 9, Chad Johnson and Evelyn Lozada. Chad Johnson, also known as Chad Ochocinco, and ex-wife Evelyn Lozada were only married for 2 months, but so much happened in that short amount of time to permanently damage their relationship. Their relationship was intense and toxic, but it wasn't until after they got married that the world really learned just how awful it was. After dating for less than a year, the two were wed in a 4th of July ceremony in 2012, but just 2 months later there came an incident that broke them apart. Evelyn recalled finding a receipt in Chad's car for items that prompted the idea that Chad was cheating. The two fought and it all ended with Chad seriously injuring his wife. Chad was arrested for battery and DV, and they divorced shortly after the incident. Evelyn did an interview after the ordeal where she opened up about her feelings on the situation and how her life had been affected by it. After that, the couple split up and moved on with their lives. Before we carry on talking about some of the worst celebrity marriages, let me first ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also consider subscribing to the channel as well to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Elizabeth Taylor and Conrad Hilton. Elizabeth Taylor was one of Hollywood's most memorable icons, and surprisingly, she was married 8 times. She had many stories and encounters to recall throughout her life, but one of her shortest and most regrettable marriages she had was to hotel heir Conrad Hilton. The two were only married for 205 days before undoing their marriage after feeling neglected and hurt by her new husband. She was only 18 at the time of her marriage, but shortly after their wedding, Liz recalled how indifferent Conrad was towards her and how hurt she felt when he spoke to her using abusive language. Liz won her divorce on the grounds of mental cruelty. She refused alimony and took back her maiden name. It was almost like it never happened, and Liz wanted it that way. She knew that she deserved better in life and refused to put up with Conrad's horrible treatment of her. During their honeymoon, the two reportedly fought a lot and spent more time apart than they did together, so this was one of the first red flags that things just weren't right between them. She later told news sources that her idea of marriage was very naive, and so she regretted her decision. She lived a better life without him anyway. At number 7, Ike and Tina Turner. Tina Turner is an absolute legend. And to think that someone would ever want to hurt this talented woman is honestly so sad. Ike and Tina were a musical powerhouse, but they had a tumultuous and toxic relationship, leaving Tina regretting having ever known him. The two met while Tina was still a teenager, and they began performing together, starting their musical act. In 1962, the two got married and continued to perform together for the following decade. Though they were a successful duo, Ike had been severely hurting Tina behind the scenes, causing her so much pain that she didn't deserve and even prompting her to try to take her own life. After surviving her attempt, she made it her mission to leave Ike and begin a fresh start on her own. That's exactly what she did, and she became an even bigger star because of it. At number 6, Jennifer Lopez and Ojani Noah. Jennifer Lopez is no stranger to walking down the aisle. She's been married 3 times already, but the one relationship that was her worst was her first marriage to Ojani Noah. Their marriage lasted less than a year, but their tumultuous drama that came after their divorce has lasted much longer. It seems as though their relationship was destined to fail, as Ojani documented a lot of JLo's life behind the scenes, saving it for later for his own tea spill. Noah tried leaking videos from the couple's honeymoon after their divorce, showing the singer in an intimate setting, and in years since has been very outspoken about the singer, her career, and even had plans to release a tell-all book about his ex, followed by a movie deal. He really came into the relationship for his own personal gain, not for love, it seems. JLo actually ended up suing Ojani in 2009 for $10 million, citing that the videos he released as well as the book and movie deals violated an agreement that they had, which prohibited him from exposing the singer's life. Jennifer now looks back on this relationship with regret and doesn't even count her marriage to Ojani as valid because of how short it was. At number 5, John Finlay and Joe Exotic. We all know about Joe Exotic and his crazy relationships. After he gained a little fame with the success of the Tiger King documentary on Netflix last year, he and the others involved in his life became sort of public figures. To give us more insight on Joe, his ex-husband John Finlay recently came forward to talk about his life after the documentary brought him some minor popularity, and he exposed his former relationship with the now imprisoned Big Cat owner and exposed their marriage. John cannot express enough how regretful his marriage to Joe Exotic was. John said that this whole marriage was fake and toxic, and that it was just for Joe's popularity, remarking that the wedding that was shown in the documentary, which showed him, Joe, and Travis Maldonado, was all, quote, basically a publicity stunt so Joe could get his own reality TV series, end quote. John spoke out saying that he still carries the pain from his time with Joe and is trying to forget his past by moving on with his new wife and making steps towards having the tattoos of Joe removed from his body. Joe went through a lot of trauma when he was with Joe, but luckily he's moving on from this dark time in his life. At number 4, Madonna and Guy Ritchie. Here's a marriage that was messy and toxic in every way possible. Madonna and Guy Ritchie divorced over 10 years ago, but their hatred towards one another still lives on, even if it's not as much as it used to be. The two were married for almost a decade, but their distaste for one another has lasted much longer, and because of this negativity, they no doubt regret ever being married in the first place. They both brought their own toxicity into the relationship, so I guess it could be said that they both married awful people because they were just as bad as each other. It seems like their marriage turned sour because Madonna was working so hard on her career, and so things became strained between them and the hostility began to grow. Coming out of the divorce, the worst of it started to come out. Guy made a lot of harsh comments about his marriage to Madonna, comparing his relationship with the singer to a soap opera, and also said that she was more concerned with her public image than she was with their marriage. Madonna fired back at her ex in the past, saying that she felt like she was incarcerated during their marriage and that Guy was nothing but a gold digger. There was just a lot of drama there, which really shows that they weren't a good match at all. At number 3, Wendy Williams and Kevin Hunter Sr. In 2019, talk show host Wendy Williams exposed her husband's serious affair with his massage therapist. Wendy's 20-year marriage to husband Kevin Hunter Sr. was dissolved after he was accused of not only cheating on Wendy, but also fathering another woman's child. When news broke of Kevin's affair, it was also revealed that the mistress had given birth to their child, and upon discovering this information, Wendy called it quits right then and there. When speaking out about the whole dramatic affair, Wendy said, quote, "Look, My husband had a full baby with a woman he was involved with for 15 years. Infidelity is one thing, a full baby is a whole nother topic. A baby. I'm not changing Pampers. I want to be pampered. I learned from my mother how to make lemons into lemonade. What am I supposed to do? Stay in the house and cry all day? End quote. She definitely regrets her marriage to Kevin just because of how serious his affair was. She married an awful person because not only did he end up cheating on Wendy, but he had a whole child with another woman. At that point, I'm sure you would wish that you had never met that person in the first place. At number 2, Alexis DeJoria, Sandra Bullock, and Jesse James. Once a cheater, always a cheater, right? That's normally how things go. Well, that's how drag racer Alexis DeJoria and Sandra Bullock feel about their ex-husband Jesse James. Jesse has earned the label of serial cheater after it was discovered that there was some serious infidelity plaguing not only his past relationship with Sandra Bullock, but also his most recent marriage to Alexis. Both Sandra and Alexis have been caught in a cheating scandal with Jesse, and his most recent scandal revealed that Jesse cheated on Alexis with at least 20 different women. According to some sources, it was revealed that Jesse snuck women into his family home with Alexis, as well as fly women out to Austin just to hook up with them in hotel rooms. It was also reported that Alexis tried her best to work things out with Jesse, but he just wasn't interested in making things work and healing their marriage. After all of this drama and broken trust, both Alexis and Sandra regret ever being married to Jesse because of how much disregard he seemed to have for both of their respective relationships. They both married an awful man, and they certainly deserved a better partner. And finally, at number 1, Mary-Kate Olsen and Olivier Sarkozy. After multiple attempts and a lot of drama, Mary-Kate Olsen filed for divorce from her husband Olivier Sarkozy in 2020. Mary-Kate had tried multiple times to file for divorce from her husband through the New York City courts last year, but because of the pandemic and stay-at-home orders in New York, she was denied twice before finally having her paperwork accepted in late May. She wanted to get out of that marriage as soon as possible because drama and toxicity made it unbearable for her to go on any longer. The two had been married since 2015 and apparently had a number of rough patches, most notably their stance on starting a family. Olivier, who already had children with his ex-wife, didn't want any more, though Mary-Kate did. And on top of that, apparently the tipping point in their relationship was when Olivier's ex-wife moved into the couple's home. Mary-Kate seemed to have had enough with their disagreements, and especially those which involved the ex-wife, so she decided to leave her husband. Following her desire to leave, her husband apparently kicked Mary-Kate out of their home, and she was close to losing all of her personal belongings. She later realized what an awful person she married, but I'm sure she's glad to be out of that relationship now.
Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is Sophia Bush. One Tree Hill fans were absolutely thrilled when she got married to her former co-star Chad Michael Murray. They were on-screen lovers, so when they began dating in real life too, fans thought it would be like the perfect love story that we all hoped for, like me especially. They ended up getting married at a very young age, Sophia being 22 and Chad being 23 at the time. But they ended up separating just 5 months after getting married. Their split was a big dramatic scandal because reports claimed that Chad had cheated on her with Paris Hilton while they were filming the horror movie House of Wax. Sophia has talked about it in recent years and said they were young and had no business getting married in the first place. She also said she felt a lot of pressure from production for them to get married. She said the producers often pushed them to be together for the sake of the show, and a big reason why she went through with the marriage was because she felt that she would let the producers down, and also the fans. It was a short-lived marriage, but the worst part was they had to work on the show together for years after they got divorced. That'd be so awkward. Up next, number 9, we have Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphrey. It's hard to say which one of them regretted the marriage more, so I'm gonna put both of them because it seems pretty mutual. Their relationship and wedding was highly documented on her reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Their relationship moved very quickly. They were only publicly together for a few months before he proposed, and then engaged for just 90 days before they tied the knot. During the time, many people thought it was just for the reality show and the fact that they were getting their own special event called Kim's Fairy Tale Wedding, a Kardashian event. Their wedding aired and ratings were very high, obviously. It earned them 4.4 million viewers the first night and then 4 million the second night. But Kim and Kris had their issues, which we saw on the TV show, if you watched it. After just 72 hours of marriage, Kim filed for divorce for irreconcilable differences and listed the separation date as the date that she filed it. Like, she wanted it to immediately be put in place. She later admitted that yes, she loved Kris, but that she got caught up in everything else that came with it, like the media and the money. Kris later responded to her legal papers and claimed that their 72-hour marriage was based on fraud and that Kim was trying to boost the ratings for their family TV show at the time. Their divorce was finalized in 2013, 2 years after she filed it. It was a very long legal battle, to say the least. Sliding into number 8, we got Miley Cyrus. There is no denying the love between Miley and her ex-husband, Liam Hemsworth. They were actually together for over a decade on and off. They were engaged twice before tying the knot officially back in December of 2018. Maybe regret isn't the right word when it comes to their marriage, but Miley opened up about the reasoning for their divorce and revealed that she got married for the wrong reasons. She loved him and said that she still does and always will, but admitted that their marriage was a distraction. Their decision to get married came after they tragically lost their home in the Malibu wildfires. She explained that she lost everything inside her home and that she filled that void with their relationship. She told Howard Stern, I quote, "I lost everything. I just clung to what I had left of that house, which was me and him." But after getting married, she quickly realized that there was just too much conflict in their relationship and that it was not what they wanted. They got divorced officially just 7 months after being married, and she released a song called What the F Do I Know? And one of the lyrics is, I quote, "Maybe getting married just to cause a distraction," which just confirmed the things that she said in her interview. Moving on to number 7, we have Britney Spears. Maybe you forgot the time that she got married to a childhood friend of hers, Jason Alexander. Back in 2004, the two of them got married in Las Vegas and set the record for one of the shortest marriages in history. Worse than Kim and Kris. They were married for just 55 hours before Britney called it off and filed for an annulment. It all began and ended on New Year's in 2004 when she invited him to Las Vegas to celebrate the new year. Jason spoke about their relationship in 2012 and revealed that they had been childhood friends for many years, but that they were friends with benefits as they got older. So, how did that turn into marriage? He said that they were very intoxicated when they jokingly said that they should get married that night. But Jason did have feelings for her behind closed doors, and so he went with it because he liked her. He said, "I went with my feelings. I was in love with her. I feel like she felt the same way." However, Britney did not feel the same way, and her annulment papers said, lacked understanding of her actions to the extent that she was incapable of agreeing to the marriage. Jason admitted that he was actually hurt by her words and her decision to end the marriage so quickly. Rolling into number 6, we have Russell Brand. In more recent interviews, Katy Perry and Russell have said that they do not regret their marriage with one another. But it was not always this way. They got married in 2010, which lasted 14 months before they called it quits. Well, him. When they first split, Russell did not have very nice things to say about her or their relationship, and his opinions stayed that way for a few years. In his 2015 documentary called Brand, A Second Coming, he said their short-lived marriage ended because of fame and said that she was the kind of person that he hated. He said, "I'm associated with the very thing I detest. Vapid, vacuous, plastic, constructed, mindless celebrity." Quite the thing to say about someone that you once loved. But his opinion and view on the marriage has softened up in the last 5 years. He now says that he looks at their experience more fondly now and said that he feels warm towards her, calling her an extraordinary woman. As for Katy, she has always been firm on the fact that she does not regret getting married to him and claims to have loved him very much. And if you haven't heard the story, it was actually Russell's decision to end the marriage. He actually texted her that he wanted a divorce on December 31st, 2011. A text message. Halfway through our list at number 5, we have Drew Barrymore. The actress has been in the Hollywood spotlight since a very young age, and at 19 years old, she jumped into a marriage with Jeremy Thomas, who was 31 years old at the time. Their marriage is also one of the shortest marriages in history, only lasting a couple of days. Drew has openly talked about the marriage and divorce and said, "I realized my mistake on the day that I married him. It wasn't because she didn't love him though. Their relationship moved very quickly and she was also very young. Just 6 months into dating, they decided to get married very spontaneously. They were partying with a group of friends at 4 a.m. when the conversation came up that they should get married because they were so in love at the time. Jeremy arranged a 24-hour minister to perform the ceremony at 5:30 a.m. that same morning. They changed their outfits quickly and had their little ceremony on the roof of a bar. The next day, Drew actually had to leave to film Boy on the Side, and they were supposed to go to Hawaii for their honeymoon afterwards, after she was done filming. Jeremy revealed that Drew ended up going to Hawaii alone and then called him while she was there and ended things. Yikes. In the number 4 spot is Chris Judd. The dancer was actually married to Jennifer Lopez back in 2001, but revealed why it did not last very long. The two of them fell in love while on set of her video Love Don't Cost a Thing back in 2001. They moved very quickly also, getting married just 1 month of being engaged. Their marriage lasted 9 months and not longer than that because of the famous lifestyle. He explained what tore them apart and said that it was tough to be in that kind of limelight. He said, "Your privacy is breached. You're no longer a normal person. Our wedding was a circus. I think several people got arrested trying to climb up a mountain trying to sneak in." The famous lifestyle of hers just bothered him, but when asking why they split, he simply says that it just did not work out. But things got a bit sticky in 2006 when J-Lo sued him, claiming that he demanded $5 million to keep him from publishing a book containing private details about her and their past relationship. So it might be safe to say that she has some regrets too. Up next, number 3, we have Jennifer Esposito. She was married to Bradley Cooper for just 4 months back in 2007 and addressed details of their split in her 2014 book called Jennifer's Way. The actress talked about her failed marriage and threw plenty of shade at her ex. In her book, she talked about their relationship and said she ignored all the red flags that were there from the beginning, which we often do. She said he was funny, smart, cocky, arrogant, and a master manipulator. I didn't necessarily find him that attractive, but I figured that I could enjoy his sense of humor and nonsense for a while. Yikes. Bradley Cooper's hot, just saying. They were only dating for months before they got engaged and then tied the knots just 2 months later. 4 months after becoming husband and wife, she filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. It seemed like she regretted it right away because in her book, she described the red flags as storming in like a marching band. Sniping the number 2 spot is Mario Lopez and Ali Landry. I'm not sure who regrets it more. Maybe Mario because he cheated on her days before their wedding, or Ali because he cheated on her days before their wedding. They were only married for 2 weeks before they called it quits because rumors had surfaced that he had cheated on her. In his memoir titled Just Between Us, he admitted to cheating on her at his bachelor party and said that's what made him realize he wasn't in love with her like he thought he was. He said he went on to marry her because he felt that it was too late at the time to split up at that point. Ali didn't know about the infidelity before they got married and said she believed him when he lied and said that he did not cheat. Mario also went into details in his book about how Ali apparently changed into an image-obsessed model and pressured him into proposing to her. So it seems like the wedding wasn't something that he ever really wanted. So, in our number 1 spot, with not much surprise, is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Maybe they didn't regret it in the beginning, but I guarantee they are regretting it now more than ever. You might argue which one of them regrets it more based on whose side of the story you believe, but their divorce has to be one of the worst ones in Hollywood history. It led to a highly documented lawsuit that has been damaging to both of their careers and probably their bank accounts. They first met back in 2009 on the set of The Rum Diary, but did not start dating until 2012. In 2014, Amber was spotted wearing an engagement ring, and then things seemed to be going very good for them at that time. The following year, they got married in a private ceremony at their home in LA, but the marriage only lasted 1 year. In 2016, Amber filed for divorce and accused him of physical abuse. She filed a temporary restraining order against him, and they settled a $7 million settlement outside of court. That could have been the end to everything, as the divorce was finalized in 2017, but here we are 3 years later. I'm not going to get into the details of this current lawsuit because I think we can all understand why they both have regrets about their marriage for their own reasons.
Number 10, her assistant's paycheck. This is a great way to start off the list because it goes to show you just how stingy Amber Heard was with money. She refused to pay her former assistant the salary that she was entitled to and proceeded to bully her when she spoke up about it. I'm talking about Kate James, of course, who was her assistant for 3 years between 2012 to 2015. She reportedly came with nearly 10 years of experience working with A-list celebrities, but started working for Heard as a part-time employee to have a bit of a flexible schedule to care for her son. She had several duties from grocery shopping, picking up her dry cleaning, to talking with her Hollywood agents and seeing her overall workflow. She was even asked to collect 2 copies of any magazine that featured Heard on the cover and store them in the garage. She was doing all of this for $25 an hour, which was less than half of what she should be making as a celebrity personal assistant. When she became full-time, Amber gave her a salary of only $50,000 and reportedly screamed at Kate when she tried to negotiate it. How about just paying your employees a living wage? Number 9, the empty pledge. Undoubtedly, one of the craziest moments in the trial was when Terence Doherty, the General Counsel and Chief Operating Officer of the ACLU, testified about what really happened to the money Amber pledged. He revealed in a recorded deposition that the actress only donated $1.3 million of the $3.5 million that she pledged to the organization from her divorce settlement. So if we rewind a little bit, when Johnny and Amber reached a divorce settlement back in 2016, the actress announced that she would donate the entirety of her $7 million divorce settlement to charity, half to the American Civil Liberties Union and half to the Children's Hospital Los Angeles. So this means that the ACLU should have received $3.5 million, but Mr. Doherty said that they only received 4 donations, which totaled $1.3 million. The catch is that only one of those payments was from Amber directly. To make matters worse, when she took the stand and was questioned, she told the court that she used the word pledge and donate synonymously, which revealed that she didn't really intend to make good on her promise and most likely just did it for publicity. Number 8, her Yucca Valley home. Amber revealed during her testimony that she currently resides in Yucca Valley, California. The unheralded town in California is 120 miles east of Los Angeles, and it's not the obvious choice for an actress who would probably need to live close to the city for work. But the purchase of the massive property becomes interesting when we look at when she bought it. According to an investigation by Dirt, Amber's name does not appear on the deed, but research points to a mysterious trust with clear links to the actress. The trust quietly bought the 6-acre estate in early 2019, 3 years after she pledged $7 million to charity. The property was bought for $570,000, roughly a year before the coronavirus pandemic sent desert home prices soaring. So now it's valued at over $2 million. The custom home offers an attached 3-car garage and nearly 2,500 square feet of living space. But the fact that it wasn't bought under her name and purchased 3 years after she promised the money to charity is really sketchy. Number 7, the revenge memoir. In the aftermath of the defamation lawsuit, Amber is reportedly in talks to write a tell-all memoir that is said to be some kind of revenge book. Reports that the star is working on a multi-million-dollar book deal have been circulating online for weeks. In fact, a report from Radar suggested that the prospect of a book has caused a frenzy in the publishing world, with negotiations reportedly in the region of $15 million. That would be a very nice payday for the actress given her dire financial situation. Many see it as a last-ditch effort at making a little bit of money from the highly publicized case, and that it is. But aside from a quick money grab, she might genuinely need a lengthy book to tell her side of the story. I mean, she started dating Johnny back in 2012, and probably still a lot of details about their relationship weren't able to be addressed in the trial. The actress told Guthrie that she's terrified her ex-husband might sue her again, and it's true that she simply cannot afford the threat of another lawsuit. So Amber will need to be very careful about what she writes, considering she could end up right back in court. Number 6. Aquaman 2. It looks like Amber may still be appearing in Aquaman 2 after all, as the actress has furiously denied reports of her being cut from the sequel. Apart from trying to save face, one of the reasons is of course money. During the trial, entertainment expert Catherine Arnold testified that Amber was fighting for her life to be in the film and was paid a whopping $2 million to star in the sequel. That's double the salary she received for the first installment. The movie would have been a really sweet gig for her considering her reported net worth and how much she still owes Johnny. She's really trying to stay in the DCEU because those movies pay extremely well compared to the kind of indie, art house films that she's managed to get throughout her career. So it's no surprise that she's holding on to her role as Mira with tooth and nail. Even Amber's spokesperson shut down the claims that she's being recast. Quote, "The rumor mill continues as it has from day one. Inaccurate, insensitive, and highly insane." In fact, she testified that because of Johnny's smear campaign against her, she was given a new script for Aquaman 2. Quote, "They basically took a bunch out of my role," claiming that her character now only appears in 10 minutes of the film. Number 5. The luxury mansion. Everyone was shocked when multiple reports began to emerge that Amber was staying in a luxury $22,500 a month mansion during her legal battle. It was really crazy when you think about her so-called financial situation and promises to charity. The 13,000 square foot property was a whopping $22,500 a month. Meanwhile, she still has not been able to donate the funds that she promised, and she said this is because her ex-husband was suing her. Everyone was really confused about how the actress was able to afford it, especially after the verdict was handed down and she was ordered to pay Johnny over $10 million in damages. The mansion, which is only a 25-minute drive from the Fairfax County Courthouse, sits on an acre of land and has 8 bedrooms, including a tennis court, a home movie theater, and a pair of sweeping staircases in the entryway. Not only that, but its listing on Zillow describes it as one of the most distinctive and private estates offered in McLean, so it looks like she was not being entirely truthful about her finances at all. Number 4. New movies. The actress already has not one, but 2 films lined up following her loss in the defamation lawsuit. So in some ways, it looks as if the 36-year-old is still winning, considering that she can still call herself a working actor. Macro reports that just before the trial commenced, Amber had just finished filming her upcoming movie called In the Fire. The film is set in the 1800s, and Amber will be playing a North American psychiatrist who heads to a remote plantation to take care of a boy with special abilities. But the plot thickens as a psychiatrist tries to find a scientific explanation for the boy's abilities, and she faces backlash from the small religious town. The film was directed by Connor Allen and does not yet have a release date. Not only that, but she's also set to star in another movie called Run Away With Me. According to IMDb, the film is about an American in Paris who falls in love with the model, and they then discover the criminal underworld of the modeling industry. Both premises sound interesting, but they'll be buried in controversy by the time they get released, although no doubt Amber herself will have made bank from the movies. Number 3. The NBC exclusive. The actress, who was interviewed by Savannah Guthrie on NBC, was reportedly paid very well for her exclusive interview. It has been suggested that she was paid a large sum of money for speaking out on NBC, and as much as $1 million. Not only that, but she was reportedly given some of the questions in advance. But aside from just a simple paycheck, she also did the interview to double down on her side of the story. She spoke about the role that social media played in the trial and emphasized just how much the internet supported her ex-husband. Quote, "Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't tell me, look me in the eyes and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation." She brought up the issue of free speech and claimed that the defamation case was about our First Amendment rights to speak. According to an official spokesperson, she decided to come on NBC because Johnny's legal team blanketed the media for days after the verdict with numerous statements and interviews on television. But hey, the money was probably nice too. Number 2, affair with Elon Musk. If you're gonna cheat on your millionaire husband, might as well do it with a billionaire, right? Well, at least that seems to be the kind of logic Amber used when she was seeing Elon Musk while she was still married to Johnny. The two dated publicly after her divorce, but Johnny testified that they started seeing each other much earlier than that. The legal documents read, quote, "Unbeknownst to Mr. Depp, no later than 1 month after his marriage to Miss Heard, she was spending time in a new relationship with Tesla and SpaceX founder Elon Musk." So, while Johnny was out of the country, filming in March of 2015, building staff testified that Amber had the tech billionaire over late at night in their shared penthouse. In fact, she specifically asked the staff to give Elon access to the building's parking garage late at night. They also saw him leaving the building the next morning. Maybe they just had a pillow fight, who knows? But she certainly has a very distinct taste when it comes to men, which comes in handy when she really needs to keep up her lifestyle. The appeal. One of the biggest ways Amber was going to get her money back rested on the appeal. But now it looks like Judge Penny, who presided over the high-profile case, has rejected that. Amber's defense team recently filed documents requesting a new trial on the basis of improper juror service. Basically, the judge dismissed claims that an individual juror had not been properly vetted and said the court remained bound by the jury's competent decision. The 43-page memorandum argued that Johnny's defense team used poor legal reasoning and that the damages awarded to him were excessive. But most shockingly, her team alleged that one of the jurors who served during the trial was not properly vetted, specifically juror number 15, pointing to the fact that their birth year was listed as 1945, but according to other information, he appears to have been born around 1970. Elaine Bredhoft, Amber's attorney, also insisted that her medical records were suppressed and that a number of things were allowed in court that should not have been allowed, which caused the jury to be confused. It looks like this didn't really work out for Amber either, because a successful appeal was almost impossible to begin with. So maybe it had a little more to do with getting out of the money that she still owes Johnny.